feel for rarities. I'm living in the real world of people who can't get product yet. So you take a pick, mister. Put me on the spot. You should see the socks I have on right now. Look at that. Look at how high they are.
Whoa, welcome to May the Zoo be with you, your Friday morning Magic the Gathering and other TCG podcasts. My name's Louie and I'm joined by Josh from Hometown TCG. What is up? And our third guest is the fly that is in my room that will annoy me the entire podcast. So I'm sorry for all of you who have to deal with that too.
Ironically, that just means George did make it this week.
He's just going to continue to annoy me all the time.
Yeah, he did. Shout out George for making it this week. Thanks for showing up, man.
In fly form.
What? Oh my God! Could you imagine George as a fly? Oh, the worst.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening and for being here. We're going to chat about all things Magic the Gathering. Not a ton going on in the Magic the Gathering world other than Wilds of Eldraine release, but nobody seems to care about that.
Nobody cares.
We'll talk about that.
Or nobody cares about us. One of the two.
We'll talk about the new Lord of the Rings leaks. We're going to talk about sorcery grades. I got my slabs in. We're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk a little bit about beta. I think there's been some rumors that it's landed in the States. We're going to talk about Rudy and how much he hates Mickey. And we're going to talk about Lorcana and it being weighable. So lots of fun things to chat about today.
We're also, in fairness, this is the first podcast since I've had Lorcana in my hands and done a couple openings and made a couple of videos. We're going to also give like a general Lorcana take, or at least I am. This will not be an all Lorcana FUD episode. I refuse.
No, not at all.
Because I'm in love.
Listen, Lorcana has its huge strengths too. And
because I'm in love.
You are.
I'm in love.
It's wild.
I might be a little bit in lust.
It's amazing how much your wife or your spouse liking something makes you like it. Like when Dana is all in on something, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. Like if she would play a TCG with me, I would drop every other TCG and be like, this is my thing.
This is why. So Lorcana did the same thing to me that the Turkey Trot did. My whole life said I'm never going to be one of those people that wakes up on Thanksgiving morning and goes on a run with his family. Like, screw that. My wife is like, I love doing that. I'm like, well, I'm in now. It's fun. It's just fun. And then my wife saw the Disney. She didn't even say she's in. She's like, oh, that one's kind of neat. And I was like, oh, taking it, running with it. Let's do it.
Love it. All right, well, let's chat about Wilds of Eldraine first off, because this is release day, so happy release day, everyone. Can't wait to see. I'm expecting a huge turnout. I know we kind of joke that nobody cares about Wilds of Eldraine because our videos have done horrible on Wilds of Eldraine. But my store is stoked for this thing. Like, people are, so we put the boxes on the shelf like before release, and we don't sell packs, but just so people know we have product, right?
To force them to look at it. Everybody
picks up a box and is like, they turn and we're like, I can sell it to you. I can't give it to you until Friday. But people are really excited.
This is a set that just speaks to the Magic fan that you and I constantly refer to. Yeah. The Magic fan that isn't on YouTube, doesn't look up the EV of the box before they open it. They like theme, they like flavor, and they like playing cardboard with their friends. This is a set for them, 100%.
Why do you think that is? What do you think about this set brings out that person excitement?
Well, first of all, the flavor, right? We have proven as a community, we'll get down on some Eldraine art, some Eldraine flavor. You stole my take.
Yeah?
About all of the food characters having pay to sack game through life.
Steal your take. I said
yeah, but you didn't give me credit for it because I pointed you in that direction. That's why my videos are doing so poorly. It's all your fault, dude. No.
So you're the only one allowed with that take.
I said it on the podcast. No one else did. So in your face.
I think I agreed with you too.
Yeah, you probably did. I'm just messing with you. I really think that the lower price point with a popular theme, as well as cards that are pulled and playable in the most popular casual format for a reasonable price, is going to make this product go a long way with the average consumer. But like that's kind of your avenue. Do you not think that?
No, I mean I think that the what's the slot called? I keep forgetting the Enchanted Melodies?
Tales.
Tales. I don't know why I want to call it. Is there a card Enchanting Melodies? Look at this fly.
No, but we can see the fly. This is great. I love this podcast already.
What is Enchanting Melodies? What is that from in my head? There's something in this world that probably, is.
Yeah, I've heard it too.
Enchanting.
Oh God, is this the portion of the podcast where we all Google? Like, listen, thanks for hanging out with us for the first 6 minutes. I appreciate
Harry Potter.
Everyone. Whatever. Back on topic. Nobody cares about your Enchanting Melodies. People care about why.
Biography of it's Taylor Swift's biography. That must be what it is.
Oh, we were gonna have 1 week free.
I must have read. It must have been me doing the research for the podcast, and I read her biography. Anyway, the Enchanting Tales I think are huge. Like I think that's going to go. I think it's going to go a long way initial on release. I think we're going to see prices of those cards tank. Like I mean, right now you're seeing the confetti foils, but. Oh my gosh, that fly just flew right in my eye. Like Ristic Studies at $40. I anticipate that card to go pretty far.
They're going to get really cheap.
100%. Already at 35. Necropotence. I can never pronounce that card.
Necropotence.
Necropotence.
You did great. You did it.
The anime is already at 25. Like they're already dropping quite a bit, but dude, this is so bad.
Why don't we restart the podcast and you kill the fly?
I'm never gonna get the fly. I did get a fly gun. A fly. It's
the salt one.
The salt one. I have one of those. I should have brought it in for the podcast. It's on my.
I just like salt. I would just eat salt the whole time. Can I give you a hot take based before you go any further, other than the tanking prices as you fud up this release?
I'm not fudding up the release.
I know you're not doing that at all. I just wanted to lean in, dude. I think that's not going to matter. I think people are still going to buy the boxes as those cards continue to tank in price, because I think some of those cards you mentioned, Ristic Study, Doubling Season, I think that people just want those cards regardless of their price, and they just keep opening the boxes.
So I think Ristic Study, Doubling Season, probably just those two, have a Parallel Lives is the other one.
Parallel Lives, yeah.
Maybe the Smothering Tithe and the specific artwork
it's only the 14th Smothering Tithe we've got this year. Like, yeah. Come on.
I think those 4 cards have a hard bottom at like $25. Like if Ristic Study is under $25, I just feel like the average consumer puts it in every blue deck they can, and that's going to drive the prices up. Like I think like there's that $25 threshold for any of those 4 cards creates so much demand, because in my mind that's a pretty large threshold for people. Like a card's over $25, they say, I'm not going to buy it. But once it hits that, it's like, oh, I'm in. So I think I think those cards will hold up really well. I think more than what will sell this product than those cards, there are some really strong cards I think can actually hold some value. And it's weird. We talk about stores not taking as much product. Like I am not opening this product. I'm not opening for singles, because every time I open for singles, it has been a net even. Like it's just so much work.
That's not the phrase I was going to use, but go.
Sorry. So Brothers War was really rough on me. I was
going to use Bloodbath, but you know
that sucked. Commander Masters, we kind of broke even.
I had to hear about Unfinity for a good while about how much money you were making on the lands.
We broke even. I think we made some money off of Unfinity. So
do you think you just overorder? Do you think you make a bunch of money and then go back in?
That because of the amount of work that it takes. And I think a lot of stores are in the same boat where, like, I think you're going to see less singles be opened of this set initially, but they'll go from a wider period. Does that make sense? Like, it'll be like this almost feels like a more organic Magic the Gathering release than we've had in a long time, where the singles prices in 3 weeks may be lower, as opposed to like usually singles, like for Commander Masters, pre-release prices the week of release day were
Yeah.
the lowest that those prices were. Like that was the bottom, was like pre-release week. And I think this might be a more traditional Magic set where like in 2 to 3 weeks we see more and more boxes be open because people are actually enjoying the product, but also
Sure.
stores have kind of learned their lessons. I don't know. That's my case anyway.
So I think there's a couple of things at play here, but I want to touch on something that it's a little bit of a deviation from our scheduled conversation, but
Love it.
it just came to me when you were talking about if Ristic Studies $25, everybody's putting one in their deck. If Doubling Season's $25, everyone with a green deck that is putting that in their deck, and yada yada yada. Do you know the biggest thing affected by the release of a set like this is going to be one of my biggest annoyances with the Commander community, and that is that they have just staked claim to the power level discussion. Now, with with this set coming out, same thing happened with Strixhaven. Cards that were previously, in more powerful decks because they cost more money, they weren't as readily available. As these become more readily available, the biggest suffrage is going to be your 0 power level decks, your 2 power level decks, because if a Ristic Study is so like readily available, you're like you said, you're going to put it in every blue deck. When you build that super casual blue deck, I can guarantee I'm sitting at my table with my beer and I've got my blue deck laid out, and I'm like, I like drawing cards, so I guess Ristic Study, I can fit it in here now, right?
So are you saying it's going to push the power level of your average Commander game? Yeah.
It 100% is going to.
That's good.
When the more powerful cards become readily available, the power level of... Now, you say that's good, but in the same breath, every Commander player that I have ever met in the history of humanity also complains to high heaven about CEDH. So this just... we're not there, but it's taking us steps towards it. Like, we're moving there.
But I will say, the stupid plot, I will say that the pre-con decks have increasingly gotten more powerful. So your entry level into Commander, I think, is much higher. Like if you play a Warhammer pre-con deck versus like a C17 or C18 Commander deck, like the Warhammer Commander deck just feels so much more powerful. And
but I don't think you can use that when talking about Wild of Eldraine because it's that specialty product. I almost expect, like Doctor Who Commander decks, I expect to be more powerful, but regular set Commander decks haven't creeped up that much, have they?
That's fair. But my point is, like, people's entry level into Commander is, in my opinion, higher. Like,
I see what you're saying.
More people started playing Commander with Commander Masters than will start playing with this set. Like this set this set's not going to create more the Commander decks are kind of... I haven't even really... Oh, did I get it?
Did you get it?
I think I might have gotten it.
Oh my god, think of the headphone wearers on this podcast right now. I hope you have a noise gate.
They're as annoyed as I am with the fly.
I hope that you have a noise gate.
I think the Commander decks in this is kind of like a non-topic. Like, who's talking about the Commander decks in, like, it's just not...
I'm not even tracking them for standard sets.
It's just not that exciting. And so
now,
I think the power level's already increased for new players, what I'm trying to say.
But I think you said something. I don't think Commander Masters brought in a ton of new Commander players with the price point of the deck.
Yeah,
I think it was people already playing Commander.
So like Commander Draft, like a lot of people came in.
Commander, that's fair. Commander Draft is super fun.
I mean, we had a lot of... It's weird. I mean, it's a weird... The whole Magic economy is such a weird...
We're off in the deep end. That's just the first thing that came to mind.
I want to go back to what your first point was. I didn't really hit on it, which was the flavor of the set. I don't feel like I really know the story that much of like what they're talking about. I almost made this point in one of my videos.
But nobody would have seen it because it's our videos.
This is an Ice Age starter deck, and like the flavor on the box it's insane. Like, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it's like, it's been many centuries since the war between Urza and Mishra. The battered landscape has become a frozen desert. Like, it goes into like, it sets this whole stage. And I just got that in the mail this week. And I got the Wilds of Eldraine collector box, and I open up and it's like, has a bunch of foily cards and special cards. And I was like, oh, what's the flavor? And so I agree with you that people like fairy tales, and I kind of had some of this artwork up. Uh it's Greta Sweet Tooth Scourge, and like she's holding a gummy worm up, which is like, it's freaking cool. I agree. It's awesome. It's super cool. I agree.
It's also like Magic is leaning in the marketing, and instead of Wilds of Eldraine is almost like a Universes Beyond product. Because if you followed any of the Magicthegathering marketing on Twitter, they showed off one of the Ristic study arts, and the tweet said, "Look at this stuff, isn't it neat?" Like a Disney song and stuff. And another one was like a Robin Hood of its own generation or something like that. And it's like, oh, you're totally like, we were always aware, the ingrained players were always aware, like we're piggybacking off Disney stories and fairy tales with like Throne of Eldraine. Like we're aware of that. But now it's a full-on lean-in. Do you know what I mean? It's so you talk about the story. I would push back that in 2023, in today's day and age, they are giving you YouTube videos and avenues to listen to and read the story. I think they've acknowledged there's more effective ways to tell a story than through cardboard. I think the cardboard kind of expresses portions of that story or that world, but I think they have decided to tell the story differently.
And that's great. And I agree that they should do that. I feel like I am, I guess maybe I'm removed from it. But I think if you have something in front of you so like take Lorcana for example, like they have the Mickey puzzle card in the back. Like what if in every booster box at the back of the thing, you had part of a story and like it was numbered 1 out of 25, and you put the whole 25 cards together and it tells the story that's a paragraph, right? That stuff like that.
I see what you're saying. I don't think it plays in our community. I think that plays in Lorcana. I think your average Lorcana consumer, which has been around for 3 days, so I know all about them at this point, right?
But you're a pro. You're the number one. You're probably the highest subscribed Lorcana channel, aren't you?
No, I think PokeRev has made videos and stuff that have gotten like 230,000 views. So my 6,000 or 7,000 on my Lorcana stuff is not.
Why don't we just stop and say thank you to the people who listen and watch us? Thank you, people who care about us.
All 7 people who still watch me. Thank you. So I just don't know if something like that plays in our community, and maybe it's because. You could tell me a story, since we're on the stories. If you want to close your eyes and join me in a story time here, Louis, please feel free. I just want to look for the fly and hope it's still there.
I think I got it. I'm pretty sure I got it.
I think you did. I was really violent. But you could tell me a story where, like, our community just doesn't care, and it's Wizards' fault they didn't care. Like, if we hadn't had 7 years or whatever it is, don't quote me on the 7 years, but N number of years with no storytelling, maybe we would still care. But they've created, and maybe to their own fault, is sector of consumers that just, they're not that interested in stuff like that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think they are interested. I just don't think that the average person really sees it. I do love like I said though, I do love the feeling of it. Like gingerbread men, like fighting and eating gingerbread men. That's fun. That's like, it's cool. I think that's where limited is going to be super cool. And I'm excited for Friday night.
Let's acknowledge, before we get off Wilds of Eldraine, let's get ready for this take about Magic and their reprint equity and how evil Wizards of the Coast is, and they reprint everything into the dirt and blah, blah, blah. They deserve credit for original card design of the past couple of years. It has been out. Everyone talks about, and part of the reason those cards don't have value is they haven't been around for long enough to become any kind of scarce, right? All their products are printed into oblivion. Mm-hmm. And also, we're slowly adopting these things. Like Commander's always been a format where we play iconic cards. Rhystic Study will always have a slot in Commander decks. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is just becoming like that card that everyone wants in decks. So it's going to take time, but like their card design has been on point.
So I think a great example of this is Beseech the Mirror. Have you seen that card? I'll read it to you. It's a sorcery for 4, 3 black, 1 colorless. Search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. If this spell was bargained, you may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. If that spell's mana value is 4 or less, put the exile card in your hand if it wasn't cast that way. So and then bargain is you sacrifice a token, an artifact, or
an enchantment, isn't it?
Might be an enchantment. So very, very thematic to a ton of commander decks, a ton of things. Like for a lot of scenarios, this is a 4-cost, a free tutor for a 4-cost. So think of all the 4-cost cards that you can now cast with this, and you can build your deck and have 4 or 5 targets that's you're tutoring for free, basically, to cast a 4-cost. And I just when I read that card, I was like, oh my gosh, like that is such a creative way to make a new tutor card. Like, instead of throwing demonic tutor in again, right? And like they are creating new fun ways, and I think that's cool.
And you don't, I mean, again, I'm not going to go too far down the card design rabbit hole, but it's like you essentially 2-for-1 yourself, but you get a spell selection, which is insanely powerful. I'm not sitting here for those min-maxers out there. I'm not saying, oh, you 2-for-1, it's an elemental. No, but it's a really cool piece of design. And you know, the only thing it makes me think of, it's the only reason I don't play the Pauper format. The only reason is because Hatching Plans is not a common. And released in Guild Pact way back when, Hatching Plans is the enchantment for 1 and a blue. When it leaves the battlefield, when it leaves play, or put into a graveyard or something, you draw 3 cards. It's the worst enchantment ever. But with Bargain, it quickly becomes the best enchantment ever. Cast any 4-drop out of your deck and draw 3 cards.
3 cards. That's pretty good.
It's so good. Shout out Oratog. Shout out Hatching Plans. Oh.
That's in blue, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Beseech the Mirrors a 3-black 1. So like that
in Commander, you don't want to do that. You're not doing it likely on turn 4 anyway.
I know. That's fair. But what my brain goes to, like, similar to what you're going to, but utilizing things that benefit with artifact destruction. So whenever there's I don't know the commander. Oh, it's back. The fly's back. There's a commander that interacts with artifacts that hit the graveyard, right? Like, you can find ways to make this card just really, really good. And it's just a flavorful. Card. It's a good card
it's a good card without it. Even if you sack something you want to be able to select a spell, it's great. We're so far down the road. Did you just hit yourself in the head trying to kill a fly?
Fly, yeah. All right.
Oh God,
I'm stoked for this release. I think it's gonna be good. If people are looking for additional thoughts going into Wilds of Eldraine, there's a really good infinite.tcg player article that's like the top 10 cards.
I thought you were going to be like, if you're looking for more Wilds of Eldraine content, check out Josh's channel.
No.
My channel's so bad. I was so hopeful.
I'm curious. I want to do a little gamble here with you.
Let's do it.
Number 1 card is Rhystic Study in the anime borderless confetti foil. Okay. Sure. Currently sold listings at $331, $300, $340. It's actually gone up. It's currently at $289. What do you think a confetti foil anime borderless Rhystic Study is on the podcast next week?
No. You have opened. I haven't even got my hands on any product yet. I'm living in the real. I haven't seen a
confetti foil yet. So.
I'm living. Yeah, but you've opened the box. You have a feel for rarities. I'm living in the real world of people who can't get product yet. So you take a pick, Mister. Put me on the spot.
So I think that people aren't gonna. I haven't seen a confetti foil, but I am not a buyer of these alternate foilings for this Magic. It doesn't.
That's been a big point of mine. Yeah.
Like, I think that this is a mistake on Wizards' part. I think that they should be investing the time and energy that they're investing into the different foilings into just creating 5 to 10 different artworks for the game and having like artwork variants and be really limited artwork variants. Because I think that would perform significantly better than the confetti foiling. I anticipate like a Rhystic Study, like the confetti foil anime borderless. I think we're down to like 175. I think that's the most expensive card that you see. Maybe even lower, 150, like 150 to 175.
Maybe. So you could tell me a story where these catch on, because I have the same feeling you do. I've made a point on the channel for the last 2 weeks now. Like, their innovation in the foiling process, whether it's gilded, halo, confetti, textured, has never really stuck, right? It's never been something that you hear. Serialized definitely landed. Like, that stuck, it's landed, it's doing its thing. Confetti, the problem with this confetti foiling is it reminds me so much of the Phyrexia All Will Be One. Not the complete bundle, but the foiling with the backdrop. Foiling. Yeah, where it was hard to see some of it. And you look at things like, shout out, it's Rip and Chip by Moonshot. They're an awesome box opening channel. And they showed off a Blood Moon. And I got to tell you, I'm not a fan. And this is the magic boomer in me and why I think we might be wrong. I don't know why I wouldn't spend the money on an old Blood Moon. If I'm going to spend the money on a Blood Moon, why wouldn't I buy an old school Blood Moon than the confetti foil? But that statement is why I think these could take off, because as soon as I think that, the rest of the community goes the other way.
Could you even tell the difference between the confetti foil and the non? Like, was it?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It was too much so.
Even the Phyrexia ones in a sleeve, sometimes they're hard to see, depending on, like, how dark
the one that I saw was not hard to see. You knew. You didn't know what else it was, but you knew it was confetti foil.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on to the Lord of the Rings leaks. Did this one surprise you?
Where did we go? This is your opportunity to go, where did we go wrong? Because we were under the impression that this entire set was a reprint set. And now, coming in the scene boxes, we have functionally unique and brand new cards.
They didn't give us any notice on that at all, in terms of that was a completely out of left field thing, I thought. I'm gonna pull up the images. But yeah, like, completely new cards, and they are definitely in the bundles. Not the bundles. Yes. They're called the art. What are they called?
The scene packs.
The scene packs, and they are the scene that is on the front of the scene pack. There's a mythic, and the one I've got up right now has the Witch King Sky Scourge, which is a legendary creature, wraith noble. So that thing's nuts. It's a dragon wraith. I don't know much about Lord of the Rings. What's that? Do you know what that is? Are people going to be excited?
Hold on. Are you interviewing me like we haven't done a podcast for a year together?
I'm asking you if you know what that is, because I'm curious if people actually care about that character.
We have the same take on Lord of the Rings, so no, I don't. Thanks, buddy. I value your friendship and your time as well.
I remember all of your wild takes.
I was 30 minutes late to the podcast, but it's clearly you that's not valuing my time.
So what do you think this means that, like, there's new cards? Do you think that more than these cards are different in the set?
Now, I haven't read the listing. So you pointed out, we were on the phone way too late last night. You pointed out that, now the listing seemed to say something new that we didn't have last time. So I haven't perused the listing of the special edition collector box, which I will continue to make fun of until the end of time. Because, if it's a collector box and then you call it special edition, you lose me. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But I can't imagine a world where those cards are not available in that collector booster box.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think that's pretty... I would say that's pretty much guaranteed.
But are there more? Are there more functionally unique cards? It would be weird if there's not, but we know there is some reprints because we saw the psychedelic... Was it Psychedelic Sauron? Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it Saruman? Listen, don't at me, Lord of the Rings nerds in the comment section. We saw the psychedelic superstar coming in the preview section at the Gen Con panel, I think it was. So I don't know, man. If those are the only reprints, the only new ones. Those scene products are products that do really well, and we have to start to question, with this over my shelf and some of the recent things that we've seen in Magic the Gathering, are we entering the ETB world of Magic the Gathering? The Fat Pack universe, where this products that are shaped like this, which historically have just never mattered, finally start to matter.
Listen, this is good for stores. Tell me the Lord of the Rings. Tell me the person, you won't be able to. The person who bought any Lord of the Rings product that cared about Lord of the Rings, who won't buy all 3 of these bundles. Like if you came to my store because you're like a Lord of the Rings fan, maybe you like Magic, maybe you don't. You're gonna see these bundles and be like, I'm all in. Like I want all 3 of them.
Oh, do we know the price point on them?
No, I don't think.
Okay,
this
so
isn't even available at pre-order yet.
Right,
I
and
may have lied.
it's not till the
It's not
week.
The pre-orders
Yes.
are not due yet.
Right.
I guess I can
So-
look. Hold on, let me look to while you come up with something, and I'll look to see if it's even on my order list,
Well,
so I can come up with an
it's
idea of a
on
price.
Amazon. It's showing a very crazy price, but that's not shipped and sold directly by Amazon. It looks like it's a reseller. So Wizards could wizard this up. You asked the question, what Lord of the Rings fan would not buy this product? Well, if there are 150 or 200 bucks a piece for this product with regular set boosters and these, 6 unique cards or whatever it is, that could be a world where those fans don't buy that product. I think, as I said repeatedly about something like the complete bundle, products like this that are actually coveted and collectible go so hard because they come to the community at a price point where so many people, that if you're paying attention on release, if you're engaged with the game, if you love Magic, you can pick it up for a good price and just be happy that you own it. And that begets a wonderful consumer experience, right? But if these come out, if they're like, hey, we see the complete bundle went to $160, it went to $244 when 3 people on TCG Player bought them at that price, then they instantly tanked back down. You can see this product, Magic, being like, well, if they're selling for that in the secondary market, might as well get all of our money, and then we quickly turn off.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think this product, so I just look at prices. This product should be priced like a bundle, like a regular Magic the Gathering bundle. That's about
That
the same.
would be-
It's about the same cost.
Can I tell you that is a massive win?
Yeah,
That's
it's a huge one. The question
massive.
I have is, what's the supply? Because again, not everybody wants a bundle. The Lord of the Rings people all bought bundles because of the One Ring, and I think like as a store, I felt like the Lord of the Rings bundles were way underpriced because the ring inside of it was
Nobody
much
knew
as I
the
was
One Ring
charging.
was going to hit that hard.
So everybody
That-
thought it would tank. Remember me on the podcast? I was like, "There's never been a card in a bundle that's been worth more than $5." Now it's still $40 or $35.
Dude, playing Magic Online is rough. Playing Modern, I constantly have to find a deck because my rental subscription doesn't afford me 4 copies of the Ring and 4 copies of Bowmasters. I got to get creative, man. Bundles are in a wild space for Magic the Gathering, and I didn't think I'd see this in my lifetime. I've said privately to you and to George, in our phone conversations, I often don't understand the ETB model. Not jumping ahead to Lorcana, but tracking the sales of the Illumineers Trove, which is their version of an ETB. I don't understand it, and people freaking love it. They just love it.
Yeah, you're saying that sells a lot.
Yeah.
Do bundles don't though on TCG Play?
As far as
Like
Magic the Gathering, not
Yeah.
historically, no, but like
So,
that's
I think
for Phyrexia, they sold. I mean, the complete bundle sold like crazy. It made up for 33% of all pre-sales for Phyrexia, so it was crazy.
I think something you probably need to consider with that data from TCG Player is that if you sell a $30 bundle on TCG Player, it costs you $10 to ship it.
Right.
So like I think most stores probably just put bundles in store. They're like, it's not worth selling online.
Yeah, but it's not
because
like they're out of stock. They're readily available. You can get any bundle anywhere.
Yeah. Anyway,
Do you think you're a Pokemon guy? Do you think Magic's entering the ETB era?
No.
No? Even with Commander players only want like 1 or 2 copies of a card, get a couple set packs, get a dice. It's sweet,
I think Magic is entering the boxes are too expensive for the average player, so let's give them something. Let's give the average player something different.
That sounds like a long way to say the ETB era.
Well, so in my mind, the ETB is like something that's the same every set. So like a Pokemon ETB is always exactly the same. You know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a sleeve pack. You're going to get a stupid little dice, some card dividers, a stack of, whatever. For this, so we're seeing unique products, and I actually prefer this. Like, I actually prefer unique product. So I think the same thing as what you're saying though. So maybe I do. I guess I do agree with you. Like, I would just phrase it not as the ETB error, but as like a. I think they're just solving their problem they created, which is that they made boxes too expensive.
Well,
So-
but that's what maybe and that's why you see something like Wilds of Eldraine, and it
Mhm.
takes something like the complete bundle in a standard set to actually sell for money. Because when you can afford the regular box, like you mentioned, when the set box is affordable, the data shows like we gravitate right back to the set box. Like
Yeah.
as soon as it's not Commander Masters and a complete bastardization of giving packs to people to open and ruining an entire set. And I said I wasn't going to complain about this again, but lo and behold, here we are. As soon as you don't screw that up, then we just like throw the bundle aside. Nah, we don't want to. Or, you put the One Ring in it, I guess.
I'm curious from other stores, if you're another store in the comment section, let me know, or consumers, how many bundles do you see in stores? Because we don't, like, I buy bundles on release, but I don't ever restock them because my kind of the way I live my store life is I'm okay with draft boxes and set boxes not selling collector boxes because I just then have them for the long term, like whatever investment.
Say investment. Yeah.
At this point, it's the long term money loss. It's more like
say investment, dude. Let's go.
But like, I don't want to have a bunch of bundles because I just don't. There's not like a secondary market on bundles, in my opinion. I don't know.
For the very special bundles, there is, but you're right. For the Wilds of Eldraine bundle, probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this one surprised me. I hope, like low key, I hope that we see a lot more new cards in the Lord of the Rings. I think that would be a wild thing. I don't think that's the case because the set packs inside of these bundles, these panorama boxes.
I told you, if you're going off what I said, I told you this with very little research from like months ago.
No, they're the same set packs. I looked.
That's okay. Okay. I was about to say, I know I said that to you, but be careful saying it into a microphone.
I guess who knows? My understanding, I said it in a video today too. My understanding is that they have Lord of the Rings, Tales of the Middle Earth set packs.
And there's no special edition set box, so
right.
I would agree with you.
So the other product though is that the Jumpstart exists, Jumpstart Volume 2. So there could be additional new cards, and I would maybe guess that some of these cards that you're seeing in the panorama would have normal versions in those Jumpstart packs, and then whatever the special limited collector ultimate value
psychedelic edition, mushroom
maybe has alternate art of like special versions and special treatments. I still anticipate we see something that's like uber collectible in those, something like connected to the like I think this is where they put the game worn jersey type thing in a Magic card. But
I'm sticking by my like actor signed art cards, or even like if it's just I don't know, maybe there'll be a couple actual signatures in there, like how we saw the One Ring. Maybe there's a limited run of like 10 Elijah Wood signatures cards, signature Frodo's. I bet they do at least some kind of stamp. You know what will be the most wild
stamp?
To me?
What do you mean stamp?
You know how like they stamp the art cards with the artist gold signature and set packs? I wouldn't be surprised if Wizards is like, yeah, this will be enough, and the rest of the community is like, we don't want to stamp. Like it doesn't, we don't like that. But what would surprise me, and what I would be kind of bummed about, is if all of the Super Chase special versions of these cards looked like a Fish concert rather than like old school Tolkien inspired, like really old medieval looking original Lord of the Rings art. I thought that was a gimme. When I made that take, I was like, that's a gimme. That's going to happen. If that doesn't happen and we get psychedelic 70s theme is the major chase, I listen, that wasn't on my bingo card.
I agree with you. I don't have anything to like argue against that. Like
because that's just bad, right?
Yeah,
that's bad, right?
I thought that's where we were going to, but then that other one, maybe it's not. So
yeah, but then imagine a booster pack. Like, so if we're right and they do that old school art, imagine a booster pack where you open and you have psychedelic fish art and you transition to the next card, it's old school Tolkien Frodo, and you're like, what game is this? Like, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
Like, I understand Magic changes set to set, especially Universes Beyond, and the feel and the kind of the vibe you're getting. But to have that happen card to card in a
While
pack
you're
would
opening.
be, yeah, in a single pack would be a wild experience.
All right. To end this one, I'm curious. Orcish Bowmasters, another one of your
So good. It's so banned in Modern. Yes, hit yourself in the face one more time. Make the podcast complete.
Orcish Bowmasters and the One Ring, two of the most sought after Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle Earth cards.
And Lore Unrevealed, but I think that's an uncommon or common or something.
Does this box, in your opinion, at this point, does this box degrade the value of those two cards?
They need degrading. Like,
I'm not. That's not the question. I'm just curious of does that happen?
Well, asked me this question last week. I say yes, and that's a massive good thing. Like, but this is the first time in Magic for a long time that it doesn't feel like there's enough of those two cards to go around, which is wild to say about a Magic the Gathering release. That there's not enough of a card to go around. What'd you say? The
Nazguls too. They're like going up.
Yeah, it's commander stuff and collect yeah. No, you're 100% correct. I didn't. Did you foresee the Nazgul being this collectible? We talked about people completing a set, but they're wild about it.
I remember pulling those and being like, let's list those as soon as possible.
Sell these now.
And like, they're just hard to pull. Anyway. Yeah. So
you know what does degrade the value of those two cards? Is the second wave of
that's
draft.
Exactly what I was just gonna go.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I was gonna say we're also anticipating that gets a second huge wave right now. And the
imagine if this is the time Wizards doesn't reprint.
What
a miss! I know Rudy told us it's coming.
I think the problem, and Distro has kind of hinted at it too.
Ooh,
but I think
behind the scenes. Subscribe for more information like that.
I think the problem of the timing of this is Christmas. Like the holiday season, historically for sets like this, kind of goes a little nuts. Like, I think a lot of people are going to ask for Lord. If you're a mom or a grandma and you're like, you call a game store, you go to Walmart and you're like, what should I get? And you'd see Lord. How are you not going to buy the Lord of the Rings one?
This is why. Tell me I'm wrong.
No,
tell me the two people you just said, the mom and the grandma, that historically, and shout out my mom and my grandmas, they are lovely human beings. They don't get you what you want for the holidays, like what you really, really want. They don't tell you what you want, what you really, really want. They're going to be like, oh, he likes card games. That's I know Mickey. This is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get, dude.
I don't think so. All right, we need to get to Lorcana because I have some Lorcana takes to talk about. All right, I think we do see those prices come down. I think this will.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Yeah, I'd agree. All right, what's next? What are we talking about next? Oh, migrated cards. Is that next already? Sorcery section.
Pop off, dude. Go off here. You want me to head out and I'll come back when you're done?
I don't have any graphic to put up for the sorcery section though. I sent you guys a picture. I sent you guys a picture. I can just pull that up. I got my sorcery cards back for BGS, and I want to prelude. I have been preluding every time I talk about this. I've been saying, do not send your cards into BGS yet because
send them to PSA. You heard it here first.
You might not get your cards back.
Like ever?
I don't know. You might not. It took me a ton of time to get my cards back. But
you were also in the middle of we're pausing all grading.
Yeah. Out of, let me see, 2, 4, 6, 7, I think like 16 cards, something like that. Hold on. 14, 21 cards out of 20.
We all hope the fly pooped on those, by the way.
Out of 21 cards, I meant to do this math off the top of before the podcast. I apologize, everybody. After 21 cards, of course it's in the last stack. This is great.
It's riveting.
Content.
You can go ahead and sub to me if you're bored right now and then just click back to the podcast, youtube.com/hometown-TCG, you know.
Out of 21 cards, only 4 of them. Only
we're going
4 of them graded below a 9.5. So we talked on the podcast. We've talked a lot about card quality on the podcast. All the way back to the beginning of this podcast, we've talked a lot about card quality and whatever. Are you bending cards?
I am.
I was very surprised. I am so surprised at the grades that I'm worried that the 9.5 won't have any premium over raw. Whereas historically in most modern games, and I mean, not even talking vintage, a 9.5 like 1.8 times or almost 2 times the value of the raw card has been a pretty standard conversation. Like,
sure.
The cards are just like, they were printed really well, and I think like that's a super good win for the collectability of the game. So I don't know. Again, I would not recommend that people send their cards in yet until Beckett opens it up officially. But I was super impressed with the grades.
So I gotta ask you an honest question. Ready? I want you to look deeply into my eyes.
Yeah.
Did you add this section just so you could show off your baller ass sorcery cards? Because
No,
it feels like you did. Because it doesn't seem like that deep of a take. There's not too much to talk about. Grades came back great. Good job. Are you flexing like a little bit?
There's a little flex.
Okay. Listen, it's an amazing.
I didn't get to pull it. I want to share it.
Let me be clear. It's an incredible collection. You deserve to flex this a little bit. There is no hate going your way for flexing it. I just want to be very front street about this. There's a little flexing going on.
Flexing's when I play my Pathfinder deck with my 9.5 slab. Because you can do that. Because they don't go in the.
No, we get it. Like, we understand.
Cool.
Thank you. So it is worth noting that as a podcast, portions of us were concerned, portions of us wanted to see results, and portions of us were all in about the card quality for sorcery. It is fantastic to see that come back. Now, you also, like, every foil you own didn't go to grading, and we're seeing a group result. Like, you picked out some, I'm assuming you picked out some good ones, save for like the stone and maybe some of the rarer cards where you only have one copy. Like, those are just going, right? But the other ones, we're picking and choosing some quality ones, I'm sure. A little bit.
Not really. Like,
okay.
My basis was pretty straightforward. I sent in all the I can never remember what we call this stupid thing. The Power 9. The Alchemy 9. I want to say Aquatic 9 because one of them is an aqua.
I think it's Alchemaic.
Yeah, the Alchemy 9. I sent in anything that was Alchemy 9, so your cores, your mixes, and the stone.
Why does every game just do that? Why does every single game just does that? Why?
Every game wants to be Magic the Gathering. You know what game doesn't do that? Pokemon. Pokemon doesn't do that.
New Pokemon. Better Pokemon, right?
No, like, that was the reason I sent in the avatars is because A, you can play with them. I think that's cool. And B, I think they're going to be like the iconic,
I think that's a fantastic move. That's a really good grade target. We've talked about Magic the Gathering. I think it goes with sorcery here. Chase cards that sit in an area where you and your friends that are playing the game and anyone who happens to pass by, they're not in the stack, they're not face down, they're always open and on display, are cards that are just going to be iconic. And grading those and seeing those in a high quality, I think, is really important. And so, again, as people who were concerned or questioned the card quality, we reserve the right to get the answers and give praise or heap ridicule on those who don't. And your grades individually in our bubble, I understand it's not a fair test case of all of sorcery, but it's a really good sign.
Yeah, and there are a couple of like hang-ups, and I think it's fair to say the hang-ups, but like the Ruby core, every single one that I've ever seen pulled in foil, has like the bottom left of it has a little foil issue where it's like masked out, and so that got 8. Like that got an 8.
But does that mean
it's got a 7?
But if everyone is like that, if that's just a problem with the printing of the card.
So they evaluate based on non-specific metrics.
Sure.
So
Okay.
they don't evaluate based on sorcery cards. They have metrics that are evaluated based on
Sure.
TCGs as a whole. And anytime you have a print issue, so Blastoise from it's like a Blastoise, I don't remember, EX or something like that.
Yeah.
What? The fly? The fly is still
no. Keep going, Pigpen. You're fine.
It is our house just got cleaned by our
no, you're fine. Like, listen, you're gonna do great in the Charlie Brown series.
Flies are flies not bad around you. Flies are like terrible.
You might be a little typecasted, but it's fine. Finish your thought.
I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh,
you're talking about the fact that your office probably smells horrible right now.
The the Blastoise has a print line going through every one of them. It's like printed on the. It's not a print. Okay. It's not like a roller line. It's like they messed up the file, and that card always gets like a PSA 8 because.
So like the high, you can't get a 10 in that card. Is what you're saying? I got you. Okay.
So yeah, I think card quality, and they talked about this when they talked to us initially, way when I did an interview with him way back. They talked about buying the company that was printing their cards. They bought they like paid for a new way to cut the cards, and like that is showing here. Like that shows in the cut quality. I will say they should pay for something that rolls the cards better, because the roller lines, certainly, like a lot of the surfaces came back 9s because of like little roller lines and stuff on the back. But anyway, I'm super.
You're that sorcery. Louis upset with his 4 9s, and you need to step your game up.
Listen,
Simon, if you're watching the podcast, you can feel the ridicule in the man's way. They need to pay for things that can roll their cards. Open up the checkbook and figure it out.
I just assume people are like me, and if you get a 9.5, you're just like pissed that you didn't get a 10 in life.
I knew that card quality would be an issue, and Louis here is breaking the news to all of us. Sorcery can't roll cards properly, confirmed. Right here, may the zoo be with you.
My videos could get 95 likes and 5 dislikes, and all I'll see is the 5 dislikes. I'm the same way.
And you know what it is that I do is I say something positive about a TCG, and that just kills it. It's over. Someone in my comment section is just roasting me for being a shill, and I have to explain, like, if I wouldn't be driving a 2016 Jetta. Like,
so I don't know. As a collector, I'm really happy with that. I think it's really cool. I'm very curious, speculatively, to start seeing where other people start caring about graded cards. It was like in the pandemic, I feel like everybody just all of a sudden started caring about that. Yeah. Like, I had never graded a card before, but like I didn't have anything else to do, so I just graded cards. Yeah. And now I'm addicted to it. Like I send in 2 to 3 submissions a month to PSA with the shop. But
so I've only ever bought graded cards. I've never sent any of my own to be graded. I'm in your boat. I'm about to send in my first batch of cards to be graded. And spoiler alert, a major portion of that batch is Brothers War serialized artifacts. Yeah. Because that's my dream one day, is the 63 card series. I'd like to have a graded copy of every card. Like, I'm not, and that's a rough set. You talked about the Ruby Core being rough for grading. All those Brothers War cards, they were like figuring something out, because there's issues all over that series. But like, I don't know what I'm worried about, and this is something I do worry about with sorcery, is we see a lot of this with. Can I say indie TCG this week? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, with indie TCGs, where the section of people that care about graded cards is a niche section, because like a new TCG. Yeah. Your community is already a niche community to begin with. And then like the niche within the niche that cares about the graded cards, you are dealing with a smaller section of the community. And what that section will decide, or grading company that they like, grades that are common, like you talked about the Ruby Core being a problem, like little habits and nuances that are built within that community for a game that lasts a long time are going to stick. Even if that community never grows, if it does grow, that foundation is important. So how the sorcery community feels, like the number of you that are grading cards right now, whatever that is going to be super important for Sorcery's long-term vision, especially for something like a Kickstarter release, your Alchemaic 9 or whatever it is. Stuff like that is going to become iconic if the game is going to make it a long time. So in that sense, the grading here and those numbers are really important. Now, the other side of the coin is to the rest of the people that play the game and are waiting on beta, and so they don't care. They're never going to live that life. Like, I'm never going to own a stone. Like, I know that. I'm never going to, if I had the money for a stone, spoiler alert, I'd buy a Lotus. That's Magic's my game. That's what I would do. So the grading of the cards is something that will never interest me for Sorcery, but it's good to see the card quality, and I wonder where that community takes that foundation, that culture from here.
Yeah, and I think so we're seeing box prices continue to come down. We talked about this a couple weeks in a row,
which is as expected. In fairness, there's been some Sorcery weirdness in the comment section. When we talk about box prices going down, that doesn't mean we're negative on the game. It's expected. It's meant to happen. Beta's coming out. Like,
I still thought boxes would come down to like $300 a box, like on release, and then slowly.
I don't think that's true, because even someone like me at $300 is buying alpha boxes.
So I think that's fair, and I think bigger than that, when you have a community like Sorcery, and this is something I think we've learned in the last 30 years, you have like
bold of you.
I've failed a lot in it, so like you learn from failing.
I haven't learned anything.
It doesn't mean I don't still make the same mistakes.
I've learned nothing.
Anyway, there's like I would call it like an acquisition period, or like an acquiring period, or like a accumulation period is probably the better word, where the people who are already in on the game are accumulating for the future, and it's all speculative, right? It's all there's frankly like a $750 Sorcery box. It doesn't make a lot of sense unless the game grows and whatever. And so now all those people who have accumulated boxes and they have their whatever they want, now they're just waiting.
God, say investing, say position, say the words, dude. You want to.
The position that they wanted, their long-term investment in the game, they have that. So then they stop buying boxes, right? Because like they it's not that they don't believe in it. It's just like they stop buying boxes.
They've spent the money that they plan to spend. Yeah.
Right. And so now the question is, does beta widen that circle? So we know beta is going to increase the number of people who are playing the game, because frankly, you can't afford to play the game right now. The average consumer can't even come close to affording to play the game.
I can't afford, if I wanted to play Sorcery, I can't afford to play Sorcery. And I am on the upper echelon of the average consumer.
Yeah, if you're looking at like the meta decks and the deck that won the Gen Con, you've got a core in there, you've got the stones in there, you've got all that stuff. Your deck's $500-$600, right?
Right.
You could afford to play a more, like we do the ordinary only list that we do in the store.
Listen, I want to be on board with Sorcery. Don't do this. This is the worst take in the history of takes.
What?
Every indie TCG does this. No. Oh, you can't afford to play my game?
No,
play Commoner. Guess what?
My point is that
the community's not big enough.
But beta's coming out, and so like
yes.
if you wanted to test it or try it out, at least you could. Beta's going to come out, and the game's going to be accessible for a long time. I think they haven't come out and said this. I kind of get the feeling that beta's going to be waived out. So there's going to be an initial supply of beta. Another supply will come. Maybe not reprinted, but like
yes, even if they print it all at once and slowly release it, from our perspective, it's waived out.
Yeah, and like you're kind of seeing that with like Rudy already kind of announced that he received his boxes. So
we don't talk about Rudy on this podcast anymore.
Yeah,
no, we don't. Rudy's the devil.
Why? Oh, because of the next take. But I think like the collector market now is focused on looking into how does beta work, and
sure.
like from my perspective as a store owner, a collector, a player, everything. But from my perspective, I'm seeing they are already getting product in people's hands. This is a month before like release day in October, right? They're already ahead of schedule, which is a huge win compared to the previous Kickstarter where everything was delayed and whatever. The print quality of alpha is being proven to be high quality, and that's a huge win. And they have a lot of OP stuff going out. The OP kits for stores they look awesome. They're really good. And so I think if they continue to make a lot of these strides, I think the collectors from a wider range will start coming into the market. And I think that'll be good. I have no clue what a stone is worth. I bought mine because I at that price I wasn't willing to like not buy one. I mean,
spoiler alert, you bought yours because you like the game, and
right.
it's something that brings you happiness and joy.
Yeah, my point is I'm trying to from the perspective of a collector, it wasn't necessary that I'm like, oh, like I paid roughly $4,000 for my stone. I didn't pay cash. I paid cash and in alpha product.
You're so rich.
Well, it's like the store did it. Like it's different.
You're so rich.
It's different.
It's so hard to do a podcast with you weekly and just be a normal human.
Your microphone just got really loud when you said that.
Because you're rich.
But my point is, like, I wasn't willing to take the, I guess, risk that it became more expensive and then I missed out. It was a FOMO buy. It's not necessarily, I think for the collector, it's not necessarily like they fully believe that this is a current value of something. It's more like, oh, that price I'm willing to buy in.
Roll the dice, yeah.
So then I already had one. So why do I need to buy one when it goes up? You know what I mean? Like that's what's happening. So anyway,
I think you touched on a couple things, and I want to make a couple points. As I don't like getting lumped in with people who don't believe in sorcery. This is like anytime I have a criticism of something, everyone's like, you hate it. And I'm like, no, I'm allowed to criticize things and still like them. Like, that's why I built the wall of sharks. I was sick of hearing from all of you. I think beta has to be collectible. Now, if alpha remains like the only way to collect sorcery, I think that's trouble for the game. But I've said this with Magic the Gathering, and if I say it for Magic, I believe it is a path to success for trading card games. I think that there has to be levels of collectability available in these various games. Because when you think of Magic Collector, before the initialization and the creation of the serialized card, and in the times of the pandemic, when the reserve list and everything is going to the moon, when you think Magic Collector, you think reserve list, you think Power 9, and you think Lotus. There was no set collecting had completely died. There was no really iconic cards other than maybe save some Judge promos or things like that people were after. And that was a major cause for the massive dip in Magic collectability that we saw. Now, Wizards then, turned tables and have tried to solve that problem, and it's taking, but Sorcerer's going to see the same thing. If for some reason, unbeknownst to me, because the art is still going to be incredible, the foiling is likely still going to look awesome. Like, if the community decides, beta's not collectible, all beta values are down, and nobody wants to collect a set of beta. You talked about set collecting, foil collecting, the Pokemon effect where you collect your favorite characters and stuff like that. If the community turns away from that, then that's trouble for beta. Because in my opinion, that gatekeeps the most probably interesting aspect in a casual opinion of sorcery. The idea of putting these beautiful foils and these full arts into a binder and showing them off and sending beta cards to get graded and having that first experience of a slab. If you don't take to that, the gameplay won't go far enough. It has to be a spectrum. It has to have both.
I think it's fair. I think from a perspective of somebody who's been seeing what people are buying and talking to a lot of people, most people didn't complete an alpha set. Most people gave up. Like most people didn't buy one.
I'm so good at this.
What do you mean?
That was my point. When you were making your alpha set collecting point, I said, most people are like me. We make 50 to 75% of a collection, and then we give up.
Yeah.
And we collect the next thing.
and maybe people come back to that because prices have come
Yeah,
down. It's like I'm
maybe.
doing 20% off on my store, this week. But the I think beta will become, for anybody who cares about collecting and doesn't have money for alpha, beta will become their set. But more importantly than that, their set collection. But more importantly than that, I don't know of anybody really who collected a full play set of alpha. And I think a lot of people just made their binders and sold their bulk or whatever, and they will go into like actually having a play set of active play set of that. And then foils are, I mean, there's like, I don't know, a handful of people. I mean, you can probably count on one hand. I'm still 83 cards away from a foil alpha play set, and I've opened
No,
like 80 boxes. You know what I mean? Like
how many foil sharks you need? I considered sending at least double digits of the foil sharks I have in the grading lot, just to be like, why not? Why not, dude?
Yeah.
Like, what does it matter?
It's pricey. So I don't know. I'm super happy with the current like feel of the sorcery ecosystem. I think beta is so important. It is
That's the
so,
understatement of the century.
it is so ridiculous and important that beta comes out and people start playing the game, and
No,
and we see people actually doing that at stores. So I'm excited.
you're so wrong. That's such a bad take. We haven't disagreed. I mean, we've disagreed, but we haven't been very rude. I'm gonna go ahead and be rude. Listen, beta's gonna drop and people are gonna play the game. In 90 days, in 120 days, in 150 days, that's when beta is important. With the release schedule, it has to maintain staying power, playability, collectability. I can't get to 70 because alpha's been out for 3 months now, right?
I don't know.
And people who have given up on their collections for one reason or another, that cannot happen with beta. People need a reason. They need a reason.
Yeah,
That's important.
I think in this scenario, I'm not that worried about that, because then people will start talking about Arthurian legends. Like at that point, that hype will start. The question is like
4 months out of the year. That's 4 months out of that year release.
But the question is, after Arthurian legends, when you have a full year before the next release, that's when I'm more concerned about that.
We don't know the schedule of the release of Arthurian legends, do we? It's all speculation.
I wouldn't. I don't know.
I just don't want I don't want anyone to put words in our mouth. We are speculating.
I would anticipate we would at least start getting hype about it after 4 months of beta. Like, what else? I mean, I don't know. If not, then what does the company do? Like, what is the
but then let's answer that question.
Yeah.
After Arthurian Legends, after 4 months of Arthurian Legends, we don't start to get hype about the next set because
and I'm saying that in my mind, that is a much bigger fear than between beta and Arthurian Legends, because we already know what the Arthurian so like that.
Wherever you want to put that window, that major gap that sorcery talks about to cultivate that custom art, wherever you want to place that window in our speculation, that's the first time in sorcery's history, in my opinion, that matters, because that's their real test of where they're bucking the trading card game market.
I don't even think that matters if people aren't playing with beta. If stores I
don't see that happening. I don't see that as a possibility.
But and I also think there's another. I know we're going to go into lore content. There's another window here of like, Rudy hasn't talked about sorcery in an actual video in quite a while, and when he does the beta bundle, when that comes out and he's discussing that, listen, like, that's a large sum of people getting into the game and taking it to the LGS and bringing that into a place.
I argue those are people that would have gotten into the game with beta's release, whether Rudy sold it to them or not. The people that only buy it because Rudy sells it are not going to take it to their LGS and try to spread the good word.
Yeah, I mean,
hot take on that one, but
most people won't either. But all right, let's move on to Rudy hates Mickey. I don't think we can show the actual thing, because I think that will get us banned from his patron.
Are you a Rudy patron?
Yeah, are you not?
God, you're so rich.
Are you not a Rudy patron?
I am, but I didn't want to bring it up.
I mean, like, I thought that was just kind of, you had to be.
Here, hold on.
Is that option? Is it optional?
There, now we're banned. Good. We talked about Rudy and Channel Fireball in the same sentence.
Is
We're banned.
it optional
We got it.
to be a Rudy patron?
I don't know. I've seen it online. But Rudy did mention it's that he is not carrying Lorcana. He's not touching it, I think was the exact verbiage. And he cited his own reasons, which are the same concerns that you can catch over on my channel where we actually make Lorcana content rather than FUD it up over here. You know, we talk about the game and enjoy it and open it with our wives and have some fun. And it's like we sing Disney songs. I could go on and on. You want to interrupt me anytime soon?
No, that's fine.
So it was, I don't want to say it was unexpected. It did feel a bit out of left field for him to, if he wasn't going to carry it, to mention it, because often he doesn't carry things and just doesn't say anything about it.
So like you've got to be on the same page with me.
Which
like,
is
Rudy will offer Lorcana to his patrons in 6 months. I would be willing to bet a Lorcana booster box that Rudy,
well, in 6 months it'll be worth $50. So
within 6 months we'll have allocations of Lorcana, and his tone might change a little bit on that.
So the only reason I disagree is because Rudy currently offers, follow me here, he currently offers Zoo, Fab, Upcoming Sorcery, Weiss, Pokemon, and Magic. And for all of his beastness and amazing reach on YouTube, he does seem to run a pretty tight-knit operation. The more things you offer, the more logistically challenging it becomes. I could see him leaning in, and we don't know Rudy. Like, I don't know Rudy, so this is unfair, but it does seem like Rudy is pretty stubborn to his takes. And I could see him using this take as a reason to be like, hey, for even the whole first year, not doing it. Not touching it. Why? Because I said I wasn't. I'm not going to do it.
So I think there's a lot of things that would have to change for Lorcana. And I want to be very clear. I understand why Rudy has this current take. Allocations are non-existent. We don't. Wave 2 was supposed to be September 1st. I've talked to both of my reps today on Wednesday. They don't have boxes yet. So like, we're not going to be able to give it to people on September 1st. Like, they're having issues and we'll talk about the boxes not being sealed. Like, there are a lot of issues and red flags that I think Rudy probably
100%. 100%.
But it's also like kind of free money, and Rudy doesn't hate money. So like, if Rudy can get 1,000 boxes, if he can get that, like somebody asked me earlier, maybe I don't know if it was you or not, but they were like, Rudy doesn't have any boxes. I was like, Rudy has boxes. Rudy just probably got the same as the big stores, 24 boxes unreleased, 40
right,
boxes
and he
unreleased.
can't. What's Rudy going to do with 24 boxes? He's going to hold on to them or open them with his friends and family. Like,
right. And so
he's got kids.
The question in my mind is not, will Rudy take and sell Lorcana? The question in my mind is, does Lorcana print enough boxes for the world that wants boxes? Like, the answer to that, I have no clue. I honestly don't know what these jokers are doing. How is the box not sealed?
How did you not? I gave you the opportunity like 6 weeks ago when George missed an episode to be like, dude, you need to lean into you were right. Ravensburger doesn't know what they're doing. Look at the allocations. Look at some of the, I told you to take that line, and you said, no, man. No, like, listen, everything looks good. Like, you wanted to fight me so bad that I gave you a win, and you were like, I'm not taking it. No. So you know what? Guess who took it? This guy. Ravensburger but my video this week that did pretty well on my channel was all about like, hey, Lorcana is an amazing experience that emotionally ties people together that would never be tied together. It builds this wonderful world of trading card games and allows people to experience something they otherwise wouldn't have experienced. But that's not for people like you and me. When looked at through the lens of how you and I, trading card game ingrained enthusiasts, look at products, it's a massive disaster. Like,
bad.
Lorcana botched the. How did you know you printed a Disney box and you underprinted Fab? You went, oh, we're selling a Disney product, and we printed fewer boxes than LSS, who was just known to be, print it all. It's collectible. I swear. Trust me. Like, how did you screw that up? That's just mind-boggling. How did you print the box? And my wife on stream, I go, hey, never touched a booster box in her life. I go, can you take a pack out of this? She goes, oh yeah, and just pulls a pack out and holds it in front of the camera. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Like, and then they said the plastic. Guess what? You can seal cardboard different ways. There's stickers you could put on the side. Like, it just, they botched it horribly.
Who bought that? Who bought the plastic bit too?
I thought that was a hilarious.
The packs are made of basically plastic, right?
But who can publicly criticize them? Because you can't be like, I hate the environment. You should use more plastic. Like, you can't have that take, right?
So I think the supply issue, I think they get a pass for that currently.
No.
Listen, I think you got to give them a pass for that currently.
If it was somewhat off, if it was a little off, sure. This is massive.
I mean, how do you know? Like,
look at the price of boxes.
Honestly, remember my take was like, they're going to do too many boxes and the price is going to be zero because they have to make that many boxes in order to offset the cost of like Disney licenses and all that, whatever their margins are working with Disney. So I think they get a pass on the initial wave. The question is like, do big box stores sell out and not restock for 3 months? Like, the question is like, how much? I guess here this would be my evaluation tool: is are the boxes still $300 at Christmas, or like do they get enough supply before the holiday season to get sales?
Remember, first of all, this is not sorcery. This is a 4 release per year product, right?
It's an indie TCG, according to you.
Yes, but it's also not sorcery. We're not saying, hey, we bet our enthusiasts will like looking at the same card for the next 18 months. Enjoy it. We'll get you something sooner or later. They're going to call me back the same time my high school girlfriend called me back. Never. Like, it's just never going to happen. Lorcana is a set that's coming out consistently, so there will be another set. But you've always said, if they print this to the moon, it's just bad boxes are going to go to $40. This is a product that for the next year lives on shelves well, regardless of how TCG players feel about the box. So the fact that they didn't lean into print, my theory was always lean into printing more boxes. It's got Disney and Mickey Mouse on it. It'll sit on Walmart's shelf extremely well. Like, it's a product that you and I, when they print, I don't know, just using a number off the top of my head that has nothing to do with anything, 125,000 boxes, right? When they print that many boxes and it sits on a shelf, for us, we're like, that's a bad sign. Everybody else in the world that's currently and actively buying Lorcana not only doesn't know that, but doesn't give a crap. And the fact that they missed that mark means they misunderstood their biggest advantage. It's their marketing to just the person in the store. MetaZoo, Fab, Sorcery, Magic, they can't market to the person in the store. Like, they can't do that. They fail there. Pokemon can, but everything else falls short. Lorcana can market to your grandma at a Walgreens.
So, but if there's 4,000 stores, let's go with 4,000 stores in the USA. I think it's between 4,000 and 6,000 is the correct number. And typical allocations of wave 1 were 24 boxes. That's 100,000 boxes of product just on wave 1. Just on wave 1. And they expect another higher. My allocations for wave 2 were 4x that.
I'm sorry. Did they have a contract with Best Buy and Walmart? If so, you believe your demand is more than that. If you have that contract, you believe your demand is higher.
Higher than what, though? What is the metric that they're... The only metric you can use is Pokemon and Magic. Like, that's what you're competing with. And you don't have, like... I think one of the... I don't know, man. I don't know what they wanted to print. I think the other... Like,
it was going to be available at big box stores. It was being available at Disney
So
parks.
what's your number? What's your number
was
for
gonna-
what's your number for the total print run of
I haven't had the time to sit down and do the math and get a number. My point is not that there needs to be an exact number. The point is that you missed the mark this hard does not instill confidence in me, the TCG hardcore person, like human being who has a wall of product behind him. However, none of it'll matter, which is wild. None of it's going to make a darn bit of difference. The fact that there is no OP program, no one's going to care. Product's going to sell like crazy. People are going to buy the next set. The fact that they underprinted boxes, stores only got 20 boxes. Now it's available for big box stores. Stores don't know when they're getting them. All of these are bad things. Guess what? Community won't care. They're going to want to open it with their nieces and nephews and sing Disney songs, play starter decks for the and not the end of time. Obviously, it's not going to be like a mainstay TCG, but it just goes beyond that.
Not going to be a mainstay TCG.
No, I don't think you can crack into the top two. I don't think you can. I don't think it's possible.
So I think that the excitement for gameplay from a family perspective dies pretty quick. So like I think there's probably a good chunk. You see this in Pokemon. People come to our Pokemon and learn to play. They have a great time with their kid. They're like all in. And then like school starts and life gets busy. And then like sitting down for an hour at the kitchen table playing a game with your kid just kind of the large sum of people just stop doing it, to be honest. Like
but then there's opportunities to come back to it.
Yeah, I mean that'll be really interesting. I think like the next sets probably struggle compared to the demand. I think the demand is super, super high right now. And I don't know that demand is sustainable long term. And from I think what you're talking about is like the non-TCG person. From a TCG person, like we have boxes without a seal. We're about to talk about weighable packs. You have just like I don't know, the quality is just low. I don't know. Like I just don't know why.
First of all, the card quality doesn't feel like any lower than some of the other TCGs we've got. Like it does not. I do not feel that way.
Sorry, I got kind of distracted by this fly that is still buzzing around my head. So
it's your Lorcana take.
I think the real issue that you're trying to spell, in my opinion, is that Card of Monday is an issue. Like they are competing with Magic, and Magic is not like holding back on their printing. Like that, if you are Lorcana, you are competing with Magic for print time in a world where you have to get probably a similar number of boxes printed, if not potentially like.
No, it's less than Magic product, because again, we got to think Magic product prints across 3 booster boxes, and then they have their bundle sets and things like that. It's less product than Magic, but it's definitely more than something like your sorcery. Like that's but for sure.
Your demand is. You're saying like the supply isn't anywhere close. You're saying like how are they off by 4x? Because if you 4x the current supply, I think you're probably close to a Magic set.
But the thing is, if you 4x the current supply, you don't have a product coming next month like Magic does. And you couple that with the fact that this product, like we just said, lives on shelves better. So I'm not as concerned on the fact that the number is wrong. I'm concerned that they got it so drastically wrong and they shaded on the opposite side, right? They're building hype with people like you and me. That hype, because everyone in my comment section a week ago with a Lorcana video was like, this is FUD. By next week, this will be worthless. And then the video this week, they're like, by next week, this will be worthless. Like, you know what? Maybe I don't think it ever will be, but like that's your take. But for our community, that's where we're going to land on it.
Well,
everyone else feels differently. Everyone else just wants to buy a pack. Everyone else wants to buy a gift bundle. Like that's all they want to do.
And this is I think the bigger leaning into what you're saying, the big problem is like official release is Friday and stores won't have anything. Like the official release day is Friday, and like LGSs are certainly out of their product. And we haven't gotten wave 2 yet. Isn't official because they did a 2-week early release for local stores.
Sure, Disney Lorcana released on August 18th.
I thought they did a 2-week early release for local game stores, and then the full.
No, I'm pretty sure you have it flipped. The official release was only local game stores. They had a moratorium on everyone else who could get product.
It's like a delay. Okay.
Yeah. So, official release was the 18th.
Okay.
But like this is what I'm saying is this just we're going to have a lot of takes on Lorcana, and we're going to not. We talk about how we don't have the Magic community voice, right? We even less so don't have the Lorcana community voice. We are the people that enjoy this product the least. We are the people that matter to this product the least. Like, listen, there have been more people join the unofficial Lorcana play client than play maybe every other indie TCG combined. If you stack all of the players on top of one another.
Again, it's not an indie TCG, but I understand.
But
Did you ever send me that link to that Discord? Were those numbers from that Discord that you guys were talking about?
Yes, and that's the unofficial client for the game. That's I think it's.
I'm gonna read them the numbers. So less than a week after the post, is that 30,000 unique Discord users?
Yep.
Or 23,000 on Discord and 770 patron, having 100,000 games a week.
Yes,
that's insane.
But that's my point. Is with all of these issues that we agree are bad. These are not good. People just don't care. People just like Disney. They like that environment. They like fun. And guess what? Even more so. This is outside of that family playtime, that buying a pack for your niece and nephew. Yeah. This is people seeking online play, like sitting in front of their computer by themselves, playing Lorcana, which is, by the way, if we're calling down problems, not the most interactive gameplay experience. Very reminiscent of early Pokemon from what I've played so far. Like, it doesn't speak to that side of me.
Interesting.
But the rest of it goes so much further. And I, as a father of two, and as someone who has just rode with me on the indie TCG roller coaster with the ups and the downs and speaking to the casual community and finding people to get an excuse to buy your packs, I don't see how you don't get this. It's so baffling to me.
I am coming around, having sold all of my boxes. I mean, I think
it just takes a couple dollars to bring Papa Louie around.
To see the actual demand, though, like to see the actual demand.
I am
locally.
Done sharing sales numbers with you. It is a waste of my time.
Like the demand on TCG Player doesn't do it.
It shouldn't mean anything, and it's still massive.
Like to see people. So I think the biggest thing for me that kind of has changed my attitude towards Lorcana as a TCG still hasn't changed. My attitude towards Lorcana as a game is the amount of people who don't play trading card games who have come into the environment. A TCG is collectible. And like, dude, like they're making too many problems for this to be like...
How? Look at a TCG is collectible. Look at the value of enchanted cards.
But dude, like, the value of the enchanted cards is going to go down when some bozo buys 400 boxes, weighs every pack, pulls every enchanted card, puts it all on the market, and sells the boxes without enchanted cards. Like when you don't have the security in place to protect the valuable cards that you have, the cards can't actually have value. And we're already seeing like there's fake Mickey cards or extra printed D23 cards going around. Like there's too much stuff going on right now that needs solved. This was my original take, was like, do they know how to manage an actual collectible game rather than...
I already gave you an opportunity to hop back. Don't hop back now.
No, like this is why Rudy's out too. Like I'm not alone in this.
I already gave you an opportunity to hop back. You didn't hop back.
So I agree though, like more people came into my store who hadn't played TCGs ever looking for Lorcana and getting involved in a trading card, and that is phenomenal. That is awesome. That is super cool. But there's other things that need to support that to get people fully into the ecosystem of trading card games, and like the lack of OP software. So if you're going to manage an OP program for a game like this, you need to be able to protect that some bozo online retailer doesn't get access to all the OP stuff and just sell it and whatever. You have to protect that. And they have no way of
There's no way a game could make it 4 years when that happens all the time. No way.
What game is it? What are you referring to?
You and I both know what game I'm referring to.
Like every game I know about that we would know about has a OP platform that tracks stores.
Yes, and people who shouldn't get OP kits
Some
still
people
got
do.
them ad nauseum.
Some people do, sure. But like they don't, like when I host a Lorcana event, it's like a sticker chart from like the 90s. Like from Pokemon in the 90s. You get a sticker for playing, good job. You get 3 stickers if you win, good job. It's like kind of like it's
you and I don't like it. You and I. Yeah, it's 2023. You should produce more than one product a year. Like, come on. Like, listen, man.
Cards.
Your opinion on this is the same as mine, and the frustrating part is you seem to refuse to look past that to realize that this product is a slam dunk home run.
It's
massive
easy money. It's free tendies. Sure. The product. How is the product a slam dunk home run? Tell me. Explain that to me.
What's the point of a product? Why does anybody make
another question? Just answer the question.
Sell. People are buying this product. There's posts daily. You always lean into, especially when we deal with your sorcery and when we would talk about cryptic, you always deal in the Discords and the private groups. This product goes on sale at a store and sells out. And goes on sale at a store and sells out. There's 100,000 games of this product kicking off daily on a client that most people don't know about.
That's right.
There is no
client, by the way, we should probably tell people what that client is. Pixelboard. So I totally agree with that. I'm not downplaying the demand that is for a Disney collectible trading card. Like, I'm not downplaying that.
Say that again. A Disney what?
Collectible trading card game. I'm not downplaying the demand that exists for. I was wrong about that. I understand it now. 100,000 people is a ton of people playing your game. Like you said, you think it's more than every indie TCG. It is.
No, I said it is.
It is by far. It's probably 2x every indie TCG game. Like, I'm not downplaying the demand. I'm downplaying the longevity of a company to manage that demand in a way that is successful. Yeah. To manage that demand. For sure. That is what I am downplaying. And in my opinion, easy things like sealing your box or not making your cards easily weighable are things that can hurt and potentially damage a collectible trading card game to make it just a card game.
And we are 2 weeks as of the airing of this podcast.